Welcome to Lesson 9, Taking Layers to the Max. You can do lots of things with layers, and in the last video snippet for Lesson 8, you saw some really simple shapes and ways that you can create a composite. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can apply patterns and adjustment layers and do some neat things that will help you to create better composites. So first of all, you'll notice that I am in Adobe Bridge, which allows me to view thumbnails of my images, and I'm in the PS09 image folder and PS09 lessons, and I'm double clicking on 0901 just to open up this lovely girl in a blue blazer. Now, I am not one for spending a huge amount of time on selections, especially if I'm just demonstrating something. If I were really wanting to make a great selection of this blazer, I would probably use the pen tool, but even that would get difficult in these areas around the hair up here. So what I'm going to use for this is just the new new in the last version quick selection tool, which a lot of people might not even know how to use yet and may not have even known it was there. And I'll just start painting, and you'll see that it quickly adds to my selection. And I'm not holding down any keys to add to the selection because the default up here in my options is add to selection. Now let's say that I want to add also this little area in here. I am just going to do a rough selection in here. I'm holding down my space bar and the control key, and on the Mac that would be your command and space bar, and click and drag to zoom in a little bit. Now my brush size for the quick selection tool is pretty large, so I'm going to look at my P key on my keyboard, press the left bracket to make this a little smaller, just bring this in. Now you'll notice that this grabbed this lock of hair. Now I don't have to worry about this too much because I'm going to apply a mask to this selection, which means that I can back this back out later with the brush tools. But I am going to just show you that if I make this a little smaller and I hold down my Alt or my Option key, that I can actually subtract that from the selection right now if I want to as well. Now I'm holding the space bar to push this over, and I'm just going to click and drag to paint this in. Oh, I missed Alt. There we go. Subtract the hand back out and paint in here as well. And again, I can subtract this selection, but you'll see how later I can do this with the painting tools as well, which might actually look a little bit more realistic because I can get a softer edge to my selection. But I'll just take a little bit of this out by holding down the Alt key and painting on that brush. And then adding. Here we go. Good enough for now. Okay, so I'm going to press Control 0 or Command 0 if you're on the Mac, and I want to apply a lovely little doily pattern to her jacket. So I'm going to choose Browse and Bridge and open up this pattern. Lovely. I'm going to select all, putting it in a square selection. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I'm doing that so you can see I've got this tiled pattern selection, and I'm choosing Define Pattern. This is great. We'll just name it Lace and press OK. Now I'm going to go back to this other image, and I'm going to go to my Layers panel, drag it out so you can see it, and I'm going to choose that I want to create a new pattern adjustment layer. And when I choose this, wow, doesn't that look great? And it looks realistic, and it fits the jacket perfectly. Not really. But the fact that I can create a pattern and then scale it inside an adjustment layer is really great. Not only that, but I can, of course, turn it off or on. And better yet, I can go into my blend mode, and I can change the blend mode so that I can see what it looks like a little better. Now, so in here, while I'm going through here, I can choose all sorts of different blending modes till I find one that I like the best. I think that I'll go with soft light in this particular case. But again, I was able to apply a pattern that I can turn off or on or change anytime I want. Really easy using adjustments. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open up another image here. I'm going to click this time on Launch Bridge and open up just the straight picture of a cityscape and show you that I can also come in here and choose something like black and white Black and white is one of my favorite adjustments because I can come in here and just click and drag. Oops. Because I can just come in here, and if I click on the adjustments panel, let me pull this out a little bit, I can press the click and drag button, and now click and drag, and you'll notice that it automatically found that this was blue, and it's lightening up the blue as I pull this to the right, or darkening it as I pull it to the left. Maybe I can play with the reds here. Notice the reds. So I can adjust this visually till I get it where I want. But again, what I've created is a black and white look-alike. It's actually desaturated. It still is RGB, but I can turn it off or on. Or I can even take advantage of this mask off to the right and take my gradient tool and click and drag till I get the effect that I want. Now, speaking of this mask, you'll notice that what I'm seeing over here on the right is a dark area fading into a white area. And wherever it's white, it's exposing that black and white adjustment. Wherever it's black, it's covering it up. So if I go back to this other image that I was working on, I was mentioning that we can fix the mask later. I'm going to zoom in here to the hair. And you'll notice that it doesn't actually look that bad there. But if I wanted to clean this up a little bit more, you'll see that because of the screen mode that I selected, soft light, it's not really affecting the hair, and that can make a huge difference. But if I really did want to make this perfect, I could go into the mask, and of course I would take black if that's what I want it to cover up, like maybe it's applying itself to the hair, and I could paint black to say, hey, don't apply that fill to the hair. And you can see it's really subtle there, but it's actually painting on the mask. And if you hold down your Alt or Option key, you can click on the mask and you can see what your mask looks like. And then Alt or Option again to back that out. So lots of ways that you can play with layers, but do take advantage of adjustment layers because they offer you the opportunity to make some pretty dramatic changes without actually affecting your original image data at all.